Hello. This is Hotline League episode 87. So excited to be here, hanging out with all of you wonderful individuals and the show and the chat. I'm going to go ahead and introduce my guest in just a second, but first I want to introduce my constant co-host, Mark Zimmerman. How's it going, Mark Z?
It's pretty good. I should have gone to the DMV today, but then it was like 1 p.m. and I was like, nah.
Why do you need to go to the DMV?
I need to register my car because we're swapping. It's swapping ownership from my dad to me because I've been out, stuff like that.
Gotcha. Well, I'm glad to hear that. What an exciting and interesting story to start the show off. That's really what hooks people.
It was supposed to be a quick. I should have gone to the DMV and then I didn't. Let's move on. You didn't need to get into it.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Asking what someone's doing at the DMV is probably the most fucking boring.
Well, no. Sometimes people are like, "I lost my ID. My driver's license got stolen."
Oh, that's a sick story. I lost my ID, dude. That's
what if you got mugged?
Story.
What if you got mugged?
Yeah, at gunpoint, right there. It
was
actually me.
I probably would have started that story with, I got mugged last week, as opposed to I went to the DMV today. Like, where are you starting that story?
Maybe it's a tough subject.
Interesting part.
Sometimes people don't want to open up. That's my job. All right. Next up, we have Amazing, our guest for the week. How's it going, Amazing? I need to edit this background so that your name is on it. But while I do that, how's it going with you?
I'm good. Went to Six Flags today. Had a good day, I suppose. Like, a couple of roller coasters. Got to scream a bit. It was pretty nice.
Have you been to Six Flags before?
Never in my life. So
what was your take?
I mean, I like roller coasters, so I really enjoyed it, especially like the Goliath one, which is like actually insane because it's so large.
Right.
It was pretty entertaining, to be fair.
Yeah, I don't like roller coasters.
I'm motion sickness, or
I'm a coward.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. It's just they scare me.
Yeah. I have nothing against them. They're just terrifying. All right.
What's your favorite roller coaster? Dangly legs, spins, big drops. Like, what makes a good roller coaster for Amazing?
I think a lot of like a big drop would be good. It's always good, but then like honestly, I like when it's like when you're turning basically when you're more or less in a circle. I don't know how to explain it in English.
Yeah, like the corkscrew thing.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Where like a lot of G-force is actually like exerted on you.
Oh, those are called helixes. I've played a lot of Roller Coaster Tycoon.
That's where it's at. Because then I'm about to pass out anyway, and then it makes the whole thing a lot more entertaining.
Well, as we get into the show, we have some important topics to talk about at the start, but I do want to give a big shout out to Alienware. Thank you so much for sponsoring the show. And then if you missed last week, you might have missed, we also announced Movement as a sponsor. So thank you to Movement as well for sponsoring the show. We'll talk more about them later on. But first off, there was some really spicy news that dropped today, relevant to everybody watching this show. One, Sony, Disney, unable to reach an agreement on the Spider-Man movies, will not be part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe anymore. And I know you guys have some information, some insider information, because I was unaware of this, but we were talking about it a little bit before the show. What does this mean for Tom Holland?
Okay, so sure. This is not insider information. This is me reading Reddit from people who presumably don't know anything either. But basically, like, they license Spider-Man for them to make movies, and so like them coming to an agreement does not mean like suddenly Sony doesn't have the license and like the deal that Tom Holland signed on. So it doesn't mean it goes away. It just means that like Marvel, who was helping make these Spider-Man ones because they wanted to use them for the MCU and like Avengers and all that stuff, they had been like working with Sony to make them so that they could use him as well in their ones.
Yeah.
What I understand this to mean now is that this just separated again. So like you're going to get more like Amazing Spider-Man and the first series of Spider-Man. Even if it's still Tom Holland, it won't be a part of the MCU anymore. And that's really all.
That means it won't be as good because the Sony Marvel movie sucks.
Yep. Yeah. Kevin Feige and all those guys aren't helping anymore. So it'll be a disaster.
All right, Amazing. How much can you speak to our second big movie update? Matrix 4 announced today.
God. I mean, I didn't read the Reddit thread, but I'm really happy about it. Like, I mean, at least if they can somehow redeem the third one. I didn't mind it as much as like other people, because like I've heard so much bad stuff about it. I actually thought it was entertaining, but honestly, I wonder what they're gonna do with 50-year-old Neo and a 50-year-old Trinity at this point.
Yeah.
I'm very pessimistic.
Well,
I think this is just like
so they're bringing
Keanu Reeves is hot.
Trinity dies in the third one, right? But she's coming back. Actually, don't they both die?
Yep.
But they're both coming back.
Yep. I mean, what for is the question actually?
Yeah.
I'm assuming. I'm hoping it's just like a rewrite of the second and third movies.
That's incredibly unlikely, especially because the same creator is attached to it, Lana Wachowski.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that it's going to be. Yeah. Anyway, so that's the hot take or the hot news for the week. But as we get into the show, we have to go to some lighter notes. So what's everything that has happened in League? So we had playoffs this past weekend. Amazing, you were there. Was it the first day you were there on the desk or the second?
Second
day. Okay, so you were there for the Team Liquid Clutch match, which went to 5 games. The Seal GC9 match, not so much. And that's obviously the big thing. We've got we got finals this weekend. I leave to Detroit on Friday. And wait, Amazing, did you say you're leaving tomorrow or when?
I'm leaving on Friday too. Friday
okay.
early.
And Mark, are you going in early? I know some of the casters. I went hiking with Azale this morning, and he said he was going early.
Yeah, I think everyone doing the dive is going on Thursday, so we all fly out tomorrow. Or no, 2 days from now.
Okay. So you go a day early, even though they're not doing the dive the night before.
No, I mean maybe everyone's just going Thursday because we usually have show rehearsal the day before. So we go there, they do tech rehearsal, they do a bunch of stuff. So
gotcha.
Probably everyone's actually there.
Okay, so that's one thing. Clash is hitting. I don't know if we care about that, but that's maybe coming back.
Yeah, I definitely care about it. I can't wait to play Clash. So like after the competitive season, I have to compete somewhere else, I
mean, wouldn't it be... Okay, there's no part of you that's like, how interesting would it be to just compete in this for like one weekend or something? Like you just crush all these people. That doesn't sound fun at all.
I mean, maybe if I play a different position, like maybe if I play AD carry.
Yeah. And what if it wasn't just 100T? What if it was like a bunch of other people?
Actually, then it would be fun.
Yeah.
If every like team that is not in playoffs anymore joins in, I think that
would actually be the perfect way to market Clash, is for them to have like a Clash thing that happens. Well, I guess Clash is happening this weekend, right? That's happening at the same time as finals, which is kind of weird. But if they didn't do that, and everybody could like swap teams and just play on Clash, that'd be kind of fun, and do different roles or whatever.
Yep.
So there's that. I think one of the big conversations to talk about is the Acadian TSM stuff, because more came out.
Oh baby.
I was worried, and we have a former TSM juggler here, so he's going to be able to explain everything, break it all down, talk about his personal experiences. Look, he's already going. He's having flashbacks.
No, I'm hiding already.
Amazing. Tell me about how Bjergsen ruined your career.
Yeah, exactly. He went back to Europe because he couldn't deal with Bjergsen.
Yeah, every time I didn't get mid lane, he just came over to my desk and slapped me on the hand. That's it. Every single time.
So obviously that'll be something I'm sure we'll get some calls about.
Parth wrote an essay.
Yes, no, exactly. Parth wrote an essay, which I thought was hilarious.
I think that's the important thing. Yeah, yes. It's an essay.
It was, I think, 1 year ago that he was on the show and he talked about he told somebody to write an essay, because it was around the time that TSM didn't make Worlds, right?
I forget if it was when TSM didn't make Worlds or because we didn't have the show in 2017, did we?
Right. No.
Right.
Wait. No, I think we started it last year. No, we did a little bit of it at the end of 2017.
I don't remember, dude. Whatever.
Yeah.
It was some point Acadian, or he told someone to.
God, we might be coming up on our 2-year anniversary of this show. That's crazy. Most shows don't last this long. What else?
Most shows move on to other things.
Yeah. Is there anything else that I am forgetting that took place? Or I mean, obviously we can preview the finals this weekend and the fourth place match. But maybe nothing else. Oh, I guess Equifox released all their players.
Equifox released all their players. TL and C9 are officially making Worlds, which means the battle is now for first versus second, as well as whether CLG or Clutch or TSM gets third.
Yeah. And then, Rookie of the Split and Coach of the Split. Kane got Coach.
Yep.
Which I think is interesting. So maybe we'll have somebody call in about that. These are the big things. These are the big things for sure. Mark, anything else I'm forgetting, or should we just hop into calls?
I think that's mostly it. So I'll give everyone the rundown. If you haven't seen this show before, amazing. Have you seen this show before?
I have indeed.
Oh my God! All right, one
Amazing's
of the
watched
few.
the show. When?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, once or twice. Yeah.
Most people have no clue, and they're just like, "What?
Yeah.
What,
They
this is a
usually have
call-in
no
show?"
clue. Yeah.
So this is usually the part that takes people by surprise. In Twitch chat, I just spam the Discord link. You can go ahead and click that to join the Discord. Once you're here, go ahead and join pleb calls or pleb calls to voice channels. Mute your microphone once you're in there, please, so you don't annoy the other people. You have to stay in there because you type your questions into the pleb topics text channel. Go ahead, write out whatever your take is. You think Clutch is going to beat CLG and they'll represent us at Worlds, whatever it is. Go ahead and put that in there. If we like it, I will pull you from pleb calls into the waiting room where you'll hang out until it's your turn. We'll do a quick audio check to make sure everything's good, and then we'll have you on air talking with us.
Yep. And by the way, if you are a sub, first off, thank you for being a sub. Make sure you sync the sub account, your Twitch account, with Discord, because that allows you to put your topics in the subtopics channel, which moves a little slower and gives you a bit of an advantage on getting on the show. We try to pull a couple every week. So, other than that, Mark, are you grabbing people right now?
Yeah, I'll start with a layup.
Okay. I'm excited. Off Mark goes. A couple quick shout outs, unless he takes too long, just to some subs. I did see Boba Cola earlier subbed 2 years in a row. First 2-year sub. Really excited about that. Thank you so much, Boba Cola.
Hello.
Apex Battalion is here. Apex Battalion, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Miami, Florida.
Miami, Florida. I want to go back to Miami, by the way.
It's very cool over here.
It's what?
It's good over here.
Yeah, it is. I think that's the most fun. We'll see what Detroit can do, but I think that's the most fun finals I've had in quite some time. Mark, did you like Miami?
Yeah, that one was actually really cool.
Yeah. Those are my favorite set of jerseys.
Oh yeah.
Like the Echo Fox one was really good. So was the 100 Thieves one.
Yeah. There were so many things that you could do with like the Miami aesthetic. I don't know if they I think they don't want to do a venue that small again, but hopefully they decide to go back at some point in time. A Worlds stage in Miami would be sick. That would be so fun. Anyway.
Yeah, that would be really fun. Especially if you can tune in like some of the other stadiums that we have. Yeah. That would be really fun too.
Well, so Apex, what do you want to talk about on the show tonight?
Well, I said that what I put in my hot take was that TL would sweep C9 like they did back when they still had Jensen.
TL will sweep C9.
Yes.
Back like when the last time they played, whenever C9 still had Jensen.
Which is basically like a year exact.
Sure.
So it was summer 2018.
Why do you say this? Also very interesting that you mentioned Jensen specifically in it, but why do you think this?
Well, I think that if you look at the semifinals that just occurred, I also was on Reddit looking at this and I saw I'm going off a little of like what I Will Dominate said, that they literally had to play the worst series they have played together as a 5-man roster. They played the worst series that they had in the 2 losses, and they still beat Clutch Gaming. Where Clutch Gaming did play good, but I feel like Core JJ played the worst he's played this whole season, or the seasons that he's had with TL. And another thing that I was looking at while the broadcast that I got so angry about was, for I think it was Game 4 with Skarner, Doublelift never had a QSS. So every time, so that final engage before they lost, he couldn't QSS the Skarner pool.
So amazing! You were obviously watching the games because you were there. Yeah. Were those the worst games TL has played all season?
I think, yeah, within a short time frame. I think TL this season, like when they lost, I think they didn't lose a lot of games, you know. But when they lost, they actually had terrible games. It was not like a close game that they just lost. It was actually them just running it down. So I feel like in the semifinals when they played CG, I think the draft was off multiple times, which is really weird to me because you know what CG is playing and you still give it to them. But I also thought that their team play was off in a way where they made plays without priors, which is really atypical for TL because they're always so controlled about waiting for waves, like having them crash and then maybe even forcing the enemy team to roam and lose out on waves, which happened multiple times that series. But they actually gave so much counterplay, or like gave so much agency to the enemy team by simply misplaying a lot of the fights in the early game, especially that it looked pretty terrible at certain times, actually, for a team of that caliber.
The thing that stuck out to me a little bit, to give some more props to Clutch and potentially C9 as well, was that a lot of the fights weren't starting on Team Liquid's terms, and maybe that's just a weakness of the team. That, like, a lot of times Clutch would just like go to Mountain Dragon and start it, and then take the fight afterwards and just scrap it out. Even sometimes they would do that without really having great priority or anything like that. They did it at that Rift Herald fight. Team Liquid was there with 5 men, but they just came in at different angles and weren't like well prepared for it. So like maybe that is just an outright weakness of Team Liquid. And it wasn't just like a serious thing when they're getting engaged on. They just they don't play as well. Maybe they're a team that only wants to be the ones picking the fights. But yeah, I was a little worried about how bad they were playing, because sometimes it's just like, oh, that was an off day, and sometimes it's, well, we're actually just not playing that well over a larger period of time, like an actual slump versus a single day thing. So, and there's no guarantee it's gone in a week when you're traveling and doing all this other stuff.
So this is an interesting situation, Apex, because and I if Mark or Amazing want to chime in, it's fine too. But we saw 2 really bad games. Like TL just played 2 of their worst games ever. Shouldn't that make you a little nervous about what they can accomplish against C9? Right? Maybe they're looking a little weaker than normal.
Yeah, but at the same time, not the same thing, but something in that sense was iterated when they faced 100 Thieves. I think it was last summer, where they lost game 1 when they had Ricardo in the lineup when they went MF, and they got bullied out of the. They got bullied even though they have Jensen now and they had Po Belter then, but they got that game when they lost. Everybody was so surprised because TL came in as the overwhelming favorites as they did this playoffs. What doesn't make me pensive about it is that we've seen TL slump, and then we've seen what they look like when they go up against teams like that, and they just basically destroy like NA competition. So I wouldn't say destroy, but they outclass the NA competition. So when I look at C9, I would say Doublelift is gonna get either better leads or the same leads that he got against Codison, which were literally he was 30-40 CS up like four out of the 5 games. He was literally stomping bot lane. And I think Codison is a better ADC than Sneaky. Like right now this season. I'm not talking legacy, but I'm just saying this season. So if they can push like they normally do through bot lane, then they're gonna win. They're gonna win, and they're just gonna push towers, and they're gonna win like that, like they do, like they basically stranglehold you like a snake. They just close you until you lose the game.
So Mark and Amazing, is this true? Do you think that TL will end up winning handedly this weekend?
I think it's pretty tough, actually. So
yeah.
So I kind of agree that TL, whenever they're actually on a LAN event, like whenever they're actually playing in front of thousands of people, they suddenly step it up and they actually become a ton better. But it feels like, for me at least, that C9 is worthy foe. Like they're really good. I think Niski and Svenskern, both who, in my opinion, are still like my front runners in terms of MVP discussion. They're just playing so well together, which is something like, we saw last week that they struggled a lot in the mid 2v2 and like having like fights around mid lane. That's at least what TL struggled with. And then suddenly they're going up against a team that is actually even better playing around mid lane. So I do think that they will beat bottom lane, and they will probably win bottom lane against Sneaky. But Sneaky is so good at playing losing matchups that I think it doesn't really matter. And honestly, you will have like C9 just fighting on mid lane, forcing fights there, maybe getting a couple of early heralds. And I think that's basically what will like drive the series. So I think it's going to be a lot closer than our caller is thinking. But I think TL should still win. That's at least my take.
Do you think it'll be 5 games?
4 or 5, yeah. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
The way I feel about it is, if you turned off, nameplates, so I didn't know the historical context, I would be like, the team that played in 3-1 their series looked way better. They should have 3-0'd. They threw a little bit in one game, and then lost it. They look like the more aggressive team. I'm really impressed by them. They should win this series for sure. But then you turn nameplates back on, you're like, that's C9. TL is the one that's won 3 times in a row and did well at MSI and all that stuff. And that's kind of more why it feels close to me. Because otherwise, I'd just be like, C9 is a much better team than Clutch. They also play aggressive. They also like to take a lot of fights in the early game. Sven is probably the MVP. It feels like it, based off everyone seems to talk about him. Who knows if he is it or not? But like, it feels like he's the MVP, and for a good reason.
There's at least one person who accidentally didn't vote for him.
Yeah. Only 2 people on this call voted, and I voted. He was on my ballot.
There's at least one person. I didn't say they were on this call.
Oh, okay. My bad.
I sadly didn't get to vote. So.
Yeah, wait, who was your vote again? It was Afro, right?
Yeah.
Did you work with him on the votes?
No, I think that was a solo mission right there. I didn't have any effect on that.
Okay. Anyways, yeah, I just feel like C9's playstyle is what I like to see in the meta, and I think they're really, really good at it. And the only reason I'd be worried is that Team Liquid is so fucking good and have the most talented roster in NA still. And Jensen's playing really well, actually. Despite that Corki game, which was pretty troll, he actually did play a lot of the skill matchups really well.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was screaming at my computer when he went in with the package.
Yeah, that was
interesting.
Yeah, that was very.
I was like, "What are you?" I was like, I kept on looking at the game, and I was like, "Why are you side lane?"
Yeah, I mean, Jad said something like, "He cannot do that again." Like that was he laid it out. He's like, "That is not allowed to happen again. He's not able to do that."
Yeah, Kobe was lost for words. Kobe was like,
Kobe, by the way, in that series,
okay.
He's not home right now, so he won't hear me compliment him, which is great. But Kobe was popping off in that series. Like, he was just going in on everybody. He was laughing hysterically. He got in that weird argument with Jat at one point in time about, I don't know, Jat was defending, maybe it was the Corki move. I have no idea. But at some point in time, Jat's defending something, and Kobe's just like, I don't believe you at all. I enjoyed the commentary for that.
That was hysterical. I was laughing too.
Yeah.
But like, getting back on the topic, I feel like if CLG would have gotten the 4th seed and gone up against TL would have handily beat them because they're basically the TL version when they had pole belter, which is focus around bot lane, then have a mid laner that can soak up and play control mages, and then have a top laner that can soak up pressure, just like Impact did when they had pole belter. And then that was the TL of old. But now they changed. They would have, I would say, they would have handily beat CLG easily.
Right, but now, would Clutch have put up a better fight versus C9?
I would say yes. Because there were certain moments when you look at game 2 or game 1 where Niski did outplay Power Evil, but I think if he faced a Monte in a volatile matchup like that, he would have still won. But there would have been moments where they would have but they would have given away kills, and maybe the bot lane that they had with Cody Sun and Vulcan, which I think Vulcan is underappreciated, but that's for another time. They would have pushed Sneaky and Zazel to a worse position, which would have allowed them to move across the map and stuff.
I'm not sure I'm buying that narrative. I think I would still say C9 would easily take care of Clutch as well, based off how well it looked like they were playing.
I'm not saying they wouldn't. They would have easily beat them, but it would have been a more competitive matchup than.
No, I can see that. I can see them. I mean, I think they would have taken them 3-1 regardless. Like maybe drop one game. I think the games would have been a bit more back and forth. Like a lot more mistakes overall. I think it wouldn't have been as clean as it actually was against CLG. Like against CLG is a team where, honestly, if you're better individually and you actually know a lot of their because CLG is really routine based. At least when you watch them, you always know what they're gonna do if you actually study them properly. So if you're individually better and you study their routines, I think you can easily beat them. We would take them down, and they have no answer to it because they don't have the individual prowesses. And I think against CG, at least it would have been a bit more competitive. You had more fights, maybe a bit more volatile, and then but I still think that C9 would have prevailed. Yeah.
So like my point here being, I know the
wrap this
transitive
up with this point, but yeah.
Yeah, my point being that transitive property bullshit, which you shouldn't really use, I'm going to use for a second here. No matter what, TL was having the tougher series. You know, Clutch would have been taken care of easier by C9 because C9 is playing better. That's all the point I was making. So I don't feel like it's fair to be like, oh, well, if TL plays C9 or CLG, they'd look better. And it's like, yeah, and Clutch would have lost harder to C9 than they lost to Team Liquid. So it doesn't matter. Either way, I'm still going TL, but we'll see if I feel more confident in Boulder as the week progresses, because I still feel like I liked what I saw out of C9 more by a good degree.
I think it sounds like everyone's in agreement TL is going to win.
Yeah.
Or at least they should win.
They should win.
Yeah, prediction. Yeah.
Yeah, they should win because they have at least an advantage, or they match up evenly across the four lanes. Jungle is the one where I think Svenskeren outclasses Smithy by, I wouldn't say a huge margin, by a significant, but enough of a margin that you can actually bank off him playing better just solely in the game.
Not to mention, Doublelift is in fucking insane form. I will say that's what I've heard. That's what I've heard.
Oh god.
Thanks so much, Apex, for the call. Anything you want to say as we say goodbye?
Thank you, Alienware, for supporting my favorite show.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Have a good one.
All right, on to the next caller. As Mark is grabbing the next caller, I want to give a shout out. So I know I mentioned Boba Cola. He also gifted 5 subs and gifted a couple subs to some other friends. So thank you, Boba Cola. I don't know if you're still here. But let's also take a look at some of the other folks who have subbed during the stream. Starting with Bunker King, CCR17, Christabel, miss you, Julie, LOL Globus, Aero Tempest for 1 year. Boba Cola gifted 5 subs, and X Brews, as well as Vasilem, who gifted a sub to Janny TTV. And then Goalie Pete for 1 year. And Boba Cola gifted a sub to Mark, who's been a sub for 18 months, and I don't think he's ever spent any money on my channel. Freezy's joining us. Freezy, where are you calling from?
Hey, I'm calling from Bristow, Virginia.
Is it Bristol, Virginia? Like Connecticut?
Bristow.
Bristow.
The W at the end.
I've never heard of Bristow, but I'm going to look at... Oh, wait. With a W? Like B-R-I-S-T-O-W?
Yes.
Oh, I had no idea this was a thing. Okay, anyway, sorry. What would you like to talk about on the show tonight?
Yeah, so kind of my take, kind of going off the Team Liquid topic you guys just talked about. I think that the fact that TL picking Sonateric shouldn't be looked down or flamed in any sense of the word. In fact, it should be kind of the opposite. I think our region.
Mark is already chomping at the bit.
No. I just wanted to chime in. I just wanted to chime in that someone else in chat, who I won't poll because it's just opposite sides of the same conversation, but it's pathetic that Team Liquid picked Sonateric versus Clutch, and they will not have this cop-out bullshit option against stronger competition.
Yeah. Sorry,
yeah,
so finish your thought, Freezy. Sorry.
No, you're good. No, that thought he has kind of plays into my take as well. But to finish off, I think it should be kind of appreciated by not just the fans but also the region, because it might lead to international success.
I heard the audience booed. I was not in the arena at the time, but I heard the audience booed whenever they got picked. Did you hear this at all, Mark?
I have a hard time here. I usually have my earpiece kind of out so I can hear the people in the room, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I boot, so.
By the way, DeMonte's in the chat, and he's shit-talking Niski.
Well, Niski's in the chat as well, shit-talking DeMonte, so I'm getting in there too. You can run the show. I gotta
one great mid laner and one mediocre mid laner, and I won't say which is which.
Oh.
But one of them just took Team Liquid to 5 games.
Okay, well, all right. You know, it's a 5-game thing. Anyway, the point is, so is it a disgrace? Why would it not be a disgrace that Sonateric gets picked? Why would that not be? Go ahead and defend.
Yeah, of course. So I think, honestly, at the end of the day, the way I see Sonateric is simply just another style that they're good at, another comp. I think having a diverse set of compositions that you can play out that you're good at. Obviously, we know the bot lane can play a standard AD carry, but also the fact they can play Sonateric, I think, is just simply another comp, whether people like watching it or not. A lot of teams, including, as we saw with Clutch, can't either counter this style very well because either they don't play it themselves that often, or maybe they don't practice against it that often, at least on stage. And recently, given the current meta, with Sonateric being played a lot less, especially Taric, I think more specifically, the backlash against it on Reddit, Twitter, even in the Discord, I think it's just way overblown and like ridiculous. If I feel like a lot of that is coming from the fact they don't like Team Liquid rather than not liking the comp that they're playing. That's just my personal opinion. And again, to me, I actually don't mind watching Sonateric regardless of who plays it. Like once they get to like, I'll admit the laning phase is kind of boring, but once they get to the mid game, they have that death ball going on. I think it's kind of entertaining to watch the death ball kind of go around trying to see how the other team plays around it. If that makes sense.
I love this because I love that Sonateric has stretched from, I mean, I think the first time we really talked about it was whenever at Rift Rivals, Grabs was pissed off of the G2 coach because they were playing Sonateric. And so it's become this like, are you gonna just I don't know, Mark, go ahead.
That's totally different context. He's mad because that's a for nothing series where Team Liquid's playing a comp that they're already good at, and he's like, you should be experimenting and learning. That's not him being like Sonateric is the bane of all existence.
I know, but it's just, it goes with that same thread of like, fucking TL played Sonateric again. That I played that meme. I don't know if you saw the anime meme before,
I saw it
with Sonateric. I love that this has become a whole thing. So I'm gonna before we get to Mark, I'm gonna toss to Amazing. How criminal was it of Team Liquid to play Sonateric? What was your reaction whenever you saw that?
I mean, extremely criminal. I think they should have been arrested on the spot. Now, on a more serious note, I think it is perfectly reasonable to play it, and I kind of expect the Clutch to actually have an answer for it, which you should if you're actually playing a best of 5 against a team that is really known for playing it. And I was really surprised that they just didn't. Like every single pick from top down was just wrong. They first picked, their first trade onto Tam, and so in order to take it away from the potential Sona Tam Kench, gave up the Taric for that, and had late game picks coming in against a Sona Taric comp. I didn't understand it, and I thought TL actually lost the series when they picked it. I was like, there's no way you should win with this right now. And then I see Clutch picking all the champions that they do, and I'm like, game is over, I guess. I think it was criminal of Clutch to leave it open and not have an answer to it, and that kind of made it not entertaining to.
So you blame Clutch more for it. You're like, Clutch should have not left it open, or they should have countered it. You don't blame TL.
Yeah, I mean, if they leave it open and they don't counter it, like, it's really not entertaining. You get behind like 1 or 2k by laning phase, you know the game is already over. Because a Sona Tam comp or a Sona Taric comp should be down like 2 to 5k, like 5k at like 20, and then you still have the potential to win as a Sona Taric comp. Like, you actually have a really high percentage to win. So I don't understand why they didn't counter it, and it just made it really bad to watch because there was no answer to the actual comp.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If I can, I think I'm pretty sure that Game 5 was the only game that they didn't ban Sona.
Yeah.
So if you know that they play Sona, or at least can pull it out because you haven't banned it, and Double Lift and Core JJ are really good at that lane, like what Amazing was saying, you have to have an answer to it. And like he said, every single pick was like not what you want against that lane.
I'm wondering,
Johnny running out with CDR boots and what is it like? He was definitely not tanky. Like, at least go Wong Sejani, maybe can get a couple of gauges in. I think it would have been a bit better, but yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they kind of like tried to go with the Tahm Kench takeaway and then be like, see, don't play Taric with it. No one's doing that anymore. People only play Sona with Tahm Kench, and we took it away, so don't play it. Because they kind of needed to ban some of the other stuff that was happening, like the Akali. Mm-hmm. So, like, I think Clutch was in a hard place, and it's like Amazing saying, it sounds like they never intended to, going into the series, need to do a red side draft where they leave up Sona. So they probably didn't quite have the prep for that situation, unfortunately. That said, I don't care Team Liquid plays Sona Taric, dude, like, or Sona Tahm Kench, whatever it is. I don't know why you would be mad at them. Like, for so long, people are like, we want our teams to have unique styles and picks that work cool. I don't like that one, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's all fun to watch, right? So I can understand why people will be like, oh, I don't want to watch this.
Whatever. You're fucking, who cares? It's to win to advance. And, like, it's such a big thing, too, because if Clutch leaves it open in Game 5 and Team Liquid doesn't pick it, that says so much about their actual confidence on the champion, and, like, gives so much information to C9. And the fact that they go and they pick it and they win actually has a huge knock-on effect heading into finals. So, like, good for TL for doing it. Like, don't chicken shit out just because it's a weird thing that not many other people are doing. You're good at it. Rift Rival teams were banning it. maybe because they just didn't want to play against it and it's boring, or because they actually think who knows on that one. Maybe they don't respect it and they just didn't want to play against it, but they did win with it sometimes when people didn't ban it. So like, obviously it's a strong comp. It's been changed a couple times, but not that much recently. So yeah, fuck it, run it. If it's good and people aren't experienced against it, and it's getting you free bans and fucking up other people's drafts on red side where they have this extra shit they need to get rid of, like, great, that's great heading into Worlds. And it's great when people leave it open because they don't have as much experience playing against it as you have playing it. You know, it's just another version of all these other things that people love about G2. It's slow and boring, but strategically it has all the same upsides.
Shout out to Medic, who's in the chat right now. Medic, who's, I think it's like 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. or something over in Europe right now. So I'm shocked that he's here.
How amazing is our show that Medic can't fall asleep while watching?
Cute.
You know, if it wasn't great, Medic would have conked out a second.
Yeah, I don't know if that was an amazing pun, but I'm going to assume it was an amazing pun.
No, I
don't assume he's that smart.
no, that's
a good point. That's a good point.
That's the reason why he's not a doctor anymore.
And then Rusty shows up in the chat. I don't understand what's happening right now. Whatever. We're getting all the foreign casters. All right. So general sentiment here seems to be agreement here, where it's like, look, it's fine if they played Sonateric. Like the community can complain, but like whatever, it worked.
Mm-hmm. I guess the one part of my take we didn't touch on a lot was I think it will lead to more international success, because I alluded to that it's not being played, especially the Taric right now in the meta. So I feel like teams, at the very least in NA, but I also feel in other regions, like I said, don't play it as often anymore or practice against it. And if Team Liquid can play it either near perfectly or very well, then I feel like that will be a really big advantage for them if Sona and or Taric isn't banned.
You know, the sad part is they don't even play that well. It's like, it's actually the sad part. You know, like, I think that's where maybe my frustration comes from, actually, that they didn't play it well. They just played the game and then they won. Yeah.
That's also true. That's a fair point.
It's just really weird. Like, I don't know. I mean, we lost against them too when they played Sonateric, so I guess maybe I was in the same boat to CG. But honestly, like, in Europe, there are certain picks when, for example, have like a certain like Sonateric, Sona, Tam, right? People will scrim against it 6 games a day until they figured out the counter. Once they figured out the counter, no one plays it anymore. That's how it works. So, for some reason, in NA, people didn't understand how to counter it ever properly, and it was always banned until it was nerfed. In the EU, actually lost traction a lot earlier, where it was actually not picked like for like 3-4 weeks now. So they didn't play it well. No, they didn't execute well, and CG didn't counter it. And I don't think they will continue that at Worlds. They will not be able to play it, honestly.
Okay, so amazing. You disagree. Like you think this is not going to lead them to international success because people will just counter it.
It's a bait.
It's a pretty big bait, especially if Caitlyn becomes like an actual meta champion, which is pretty likely right now. I think you will lose your turret by like 7 to 8 minutes if the enemy team actually has hands.
Yeah. So this is a great moment on the show, because in 6 weeks during groups, if CoreJJ and Peter bust out Sonateric against like G2 or some, whatever team from Europe, then we'll have this moment where Amazing predicted correctly.
It's one of us is right. Either I'm like, yeah, diversity in your champion pool and like unique picks, or it's just like, this is garbage, and I said it was garbage 2 months ago.
Freezy, thanks so much for calling in. Anything you want to say as we say goodbye?
Not too much. Thanks for putting on a great show. Thanks for picking my topic. I listen to it most days on the way to work, so
thank you.
Appreciate everything you guys are doing.
Yeah, have a good one.
Yeah, you too, man.
We've got
all your callers are so nice. They're
no, they
so
are.
wholesome. It's
Whenever
like
when we started the show, Mark and I were really nervous about the show because we thought people would call in and be jerks or it'd be awkward or whatever. But everybody, for the most part, are pretty well, like, just respectful people that are just like, oh yeah, thank you, this was cool, blah blah blah.
What's funny is the one time we had a troll caller come on, he like came on. I forget what he said, but it was basically like, just said some profane shit, and then he left right away. And like, my brain hadn't even processed like what he had said by the time he left. And both Travis and I, after the show, were like, hey dude, you did a great job kicking that guy. You were so on top of it. And then both of us were like, wait.
We didn't kick him. He was like, I'm out.
Yeah, he just said it and left.
Yeah. Oh, whatever.
We don't even have to do anything, anyways.
All right. Mark's off to grab the next caller. Thank you to Gillipete for 12 months. Boba gift sub to Mark. Sadistic Nero, 9 months. Derelict Reaper, Tej, 14. Jordan. Drizzle, thank you for your bits. Tin Buster. Nova Scotian Boy, Coin Shot Quoth. Hey! That is actually one of the coolest names ever. That is a... Did you hear that, Mark? One of the people who subbed is named Coin Shot Quoth. A Mistborn and Name of the Wind.
I haven't read Mistborn yet.
I mean, I can't read, so.
Get those audiobooks, dude. It's fine for people like you now. You're living in the golden era of illiteracy. You have speech on your phone. You don't need to read anymore, dude.
All right, whatever. Mark, you gotta, please. Anyway.
There's a caller in here.
Vice versa Virtue. Where are you calling from?
Calling from Newport News, Virginia.
From Virginia as well?
Yeah.
Do you live near Bristow?
That's like way far away. It's like 2.5, 3 hours away, so I don't go up there.
Sorry, you can't be friends with... It looks really beautiful there. I'm looking at a picture of it. It's there's some forest.
Dude, that's so creepy. You Google where people are from as soon as they tell you?
Yeah.
He instantly grabs his IP address and Googles their homes.
I want
to... what the hell?
I want to visualize myself as that person, you know, like what are they taking in? What is their life like? You know, who are they? I try to connect with people, Mark. That's my big thing. Vice versa Virtue, what do you want to talk about on the show tonight?
I wanted to talk about how the TSM Acadian situation seems like it's very similar to the 100 Thieves Cody Sun situation, except everyone's kind of giving them a pass because of their history with their wins, especially considering all the information that came out from Dom and Loco and how kind of Parth responded to that. It seems like it's kind of what OP TSM fan was talking about last week, where something seemed off. And for those who aren't aware, Dom and Loco brought up that, you know, it seemed like there were some team synergy issues, particularly between Acadian and Sven, and then TSM came out and said that wasn't it, but there's a bunch of things that seem like they just don't correlate or add up correctly.
All right, everyone watching right now, go wake up your family, go message your friend. This is the TSM topic. All right, we're in it. This is the part. This is what you all tune in for.
You tied in 100 Thieves from last year. Now Amazing's really he's got both. Exactly. He's got both sides of the story.
Now I have to really handle my PR well, you know, like it's gonna be tough.
Amazing's about to pull the Ethernet cable and be like, "Oh, sorry, my internet went out. I don't know what happened. It's normally so solid. I don't know."
This episode title is not 100 Thieves, you know, Amazing. It's XTSM Jungler Amazing. Comments on
XTSM Jungler Amazing.
No. I mean,
okay. So make your case. Vice versa Virtue. Go ahead and elaborate on your take.
Okay, so if I seem like I'm stuttering, it's because I have like a little note sheet of just what's going on.
No, it's fine. I love when you guys always prepare yourself ahead of time. I love it.
Yeah, so everyone's aware that, you know, Grig and Acadian split time for Summer Split. On July 16th, Acadian was named the starter. And then for week 9, Azale's tweet said that Spica was starting. There was no information about that until after the fact. And everyone just seems confused by it.
Yeah, Zale announced it.
Yeah. Screw him for leaking information out to everybody.
Well, it was on the website, right? Like
Are you saying that ironically, or are you actually one of those people?
Okay. No, that's completely ironic.
Okay, good.
But yeah. So like how OPTSM fan was talking about last week, something seemed like it's off. And my hot take is maybe it's Parth, right? Parth's been there since 2017. There was issues with apparently behind the scenes with Acadian, because you can see it in TSM Legends episode 11, where they tell him, like, you know, you don't have to sacrifice everything for your team. You don't have to be a slave because you're not a slave, which feeds into the whole, you know, line of theory that Bjergsen just wants a ward and wants with a tunnel. So after everything happens, Parth comes out with his long statement, but it seems like some things are missing or don't make sense. He says that, you know, Acadian and Grig, they were splitting time because they saw, you know, positives in each, but ended up taking Acadian because of his mental fortitude. And then 11 days later is when Peter Zhang is brought up from Academy, and they moved Goldman to Academy to help with drafts. And then the following week is when Acadian, I guess, his mental fortitude that he was so strong with is what causes him to lose the starting job after they had swapped him in and out for 6 weeks with Greg. So they keep saying that there's these other things that are going on behind the scenes that they want to talk about.
It sounds like you don't believe Parth.
Correct. That's exactly.
Conspiracy theories.
Yeah. So
PR.
Yeah. So when Loco and Dom were talking about it, Loco, as soon as Dom starts talking about it, Loco says that he was aware that it was going on, but was just going to wait for someone else to bring it up. And TSM has kind of countered that by saying that they think they know who it is, which was I guess it's Albert Cohen, a former analyst who did scripts for stats and things like that.
Sure. And then Dom said it wasn't.
Correct.
Yeah.
And
was that guy at the party if he's a former analyst?
Yeah, exactly. But even Albert came out and said that what was happening, the dynamic between Acadian and Sven was overblown. He said, yeah, it happened, but that's how things get heated, is at least what the Eucrit article made it seem like. So I didn't see it there. But the reaction with, here's some of the things in Parth's statement that I have some concerns with.
Yeah, he said go through it somewhat quickly because I want to dive in.
Yeah. He said, I believe Greg was a better jungler. He had more strategy and better time using him. But again, remember, he had his wrist issue in spring. But Acadian integrated well into the split. He took them aside at the beginning of the split, and so they had opportunities to go elsewhere. They both wanted to stay with the team to duke it out. They felt that there was a weakness with team play with Acadian as well as Greg. So that's why, and they believe Acadian's issue was personal. But in it says that it was a conversation between him and Simon and David, but at no point does it say they directly talked to Acadian about it. And then after that is when they make the decision to pull Spica up, as it seems like a Hail Mary at the end of the season.
Yeah, but none of that sound like, I don't hear anything there that seems like you're contradicting, or are you just saying you wish that they had handled it differently?
Tag me in.
Yeah.
Tag me in. Because I kind of agree where, like, there's a lot of things here where I can't tell if it is, Parth just kind of stream of consciousness writing this and not.
It did seem very stream of conscious, which was what was surprising to me, because there were like typos and like weirdly worded sentences there, and I'm like, I thought you wanted an essay. You didn't even proofread this shit.
Right. So part of me is like, it's that, but I think it does a weird job of like what it's saying. So, for instance, in the entire thing, he doesn't use Zix's name, which is weird to me.
Yeah.
You would think at some point in this whole thing about all these conversations going on, Zix's name would have cropped up. Simon crops up. David, Peter Zhang, fucking Albert Cohen pops up, but we never hear Zix's name, which is weird to me. And to be fair, if you read this and fine comb through everything, Parth does, most of it is GM work, where, he's the one who's saying like, hey, if you guys want to go elsewhere, you can. As the GM, you're the guy, deciding ultimately maybe the roster, and you're the one who has to kind of make those decisions.
Sure.
So maybe it was Zix who said, let's run a 7-man or 6-man roster or something. And Parth's like, okay, well, I'll talk to them and make sure it's cool. And then, maybe it's Zix, Simon, and David who talk to him and say, we can't win with this jungler. Acadian's doomed. Fuck it, we got to go find something else. And then he, as the GM, is like, all right, let me go talk to the Academy staff and Peter and Spica and see if we can bring them up. Like, these are all things that hypothetically I can see being the responsibility of just a GM, and he's not really overstepping, or not even over. I don't know what the situation is, but like, he's not taking on coaching responsibilities hypothetically. But the fact that none of this is ever mentioning your head coach of your team is so weird to me. It's a massive red flag where I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm really confused by how little Zix seems to be involved nowadays. Like, maybe that's just like from interpreting it in the TSM Legends, and like obviously Peter Zhang coming up. I don't quite understand I honestly just don't kind of understand the hierarchy anymore. Like, everything that is happening within TSM like was like so clearly defined before the season started, right? They had Greg and Acadian being basically the journalists that they were going to use, right? Then they had Zix, who was the head coach. Peter Zeng was the academy coach, and they had like Goldman, I think, and Lasport as their coaching staff beyond like Zix.
Right.
Suddenly you have Reggie coming in. Suddenly you have like the next game, Peter Zeng coming in. Suddenly you have like a sports psych that they also have. So now it feels like, well, what I'm just confused by is like who actually made the decision, because I think actually, honestly, I don't think anyone actually did the decision. It's more like a mutual thing where all the coaches were like, yeah, let's just do that. That's at least what I feel. And what's more confusing to me is like how they judged it and how quickly they judged all of it. Mm-hmm. And I honestly don't understand how you can judge certain players by single performances or by scrims. I mean, Greg had like a 100% win rate until Rift Rivals. Kenny had like a sub 50% win rate the whole year, like the whole split. And then Aspico is like at 50, or like now with playoffs like at 20% win rate.
But I mean, we should say, there's also scrims and practice and all that stuff, right? It's not like they're only making this decision off of what's happening on the stage.
Yeah, but then you're trolling.
Yeah, I mean, like scrims are weird sometimes.
I'm gonna be honest here. My scrim rate, even at my best, in TSM was really high. In Origin, it was actually pretty low. But like a 40% win rate, like at certain times, we just I entered a lot of scrims, Mithy entered a lot of scrims, Source entered a lot of scrims. If after every single scrim, right, or after every single scrim day or scrim week, we would have had someone above us that would have told us, yeah, you're not doing well in scrims, we're gonna get a replacement. I think Origin would have had 25 members or something like that, I think we would have cycled through everyone at least like 5 times, I'm sure. So I'm just really confused by how they judge players nowadays, and I'm really confused by how they judge personalities, because honestly, I think the team looked good with Greg. I think the team looked good with Acadian. Not as good as with Greg. I think Greg actually was the one that was performing the most consistent or the best on stage. I think Acadian came next, and now Spica's next. So basically, you have the one that was performing the least well on stage now playing on stage, because coaches decided that would be the thing. So I'm like, what does he actually go with that? Is it like keep on building up power moves, or are you just stressed? Are you scared to lose? Is that what it is? And that's why you keep like cycling through junglers, or is there like a bigger issue at hand that is actually like the background thing that was kind of mentioned by Dom and Loco, I guess, where what if there's actually like something going on behind the scenes that people just can't talk about,
Yeah.
And I think at this point it feels like it's actually more coaches than anything that happened behind the scenes. I think it's more or less the inability of the overarching coaching staff to actually make the right call right now, or making too many hasty calls within a short period of time. That's at least my take.
Yeah, but I don't think it's just Zix though, right? Because you have Woodbuck all the way back a couple of years ago saying that TSM always focused on short-term fixes instead of anything long-term.
But Woodbuck was there for like a split.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I'll just say this: Woodbuck seems like a nice enough guy, but like 100T TSM fans seem to dredge like Woodbuck's random comments up like years and years later. Like, I just don't buy I don't think he's a good source for insight into TSM.
I mean, I like Travis is saying, he seems like a cool dude from everything I've seen from him, but like it was clearly someone like the shoe did not fit. Like came from the traditional sports world. They thought, hey, this will be great to implement, and he was just clearly out of his depth in League of Legends in terms of his ability to build trust with players, probably due to his, through no fault of his own, he was a former baseball coach. We tried the same thing once at Team Liquid, where we hired like a former football coach guy, and the hiring from the traditional sports world just doesn't work. It flat out has never worked.
He can't be the leading man. He has to be a supportive force. That's what I think.
And that's what's kind of happened is people have taken on the sports psychologist role for these people as opposed to the head coach role, which is where it failed for a lot of the teams who tried it early on. A lot of people have since come into the esports scene, some of them from traditional sports background. Daler was a coach, Weldon's a sports psychologist. But a lot of them kind of worked their way up into it. They were not handed the keys right away. And Daler is fucking good at League even. He was like Diamond 1 or something. He wasn't like a nobody kind of thing.
And he wasn't hard pressed to actually make something happen within the first split. Like, yeah, 2 rookies coming in with Huni and Rainover, or like 2, I guess. I mean, 1 rookie and Huni, and then he had Steelback too. And he wasn't really forced to be the best coach from the get-go. They actually gave him a lot of time, and he actually took that time to actually listen to the players, because I had conversations with him and like the players at that point, and he didn't have to do anything. Like in the beginning, he was listening and then started to understand, oh, this is League of Legends at a competitive level, and this is what I want to do. And I think, yeah, I mean, he was a really special case, and I think everyone who just thinks that they can emulate or imitate whatever they were doing back then, yeah, good luck.
Yeah. So, anyways, we got a little off topic there, but
Well, I
either
want
way,
to push us further off topic. Unless, Mark, you have a thing you want to say.
Oh, I was going to get back into what happened this season, because I just don't like using random examples from previous seasons.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they do hold up, but oftentimes they don't.
My point was, I was just going to lead into the fact that it seems that that's very true, right? 2018 is the first time where they didn't make Worlds, right? So if there's ever a time for a perfect reset, like how normal sports organizations go and they reset everything and do it, it seems very short-sighted on still, hey, we have Bjergsen, we have Sven, we need to get it and we need to make it work this year. But starting Spica the week before playoffs seems like it's very short-term. And then my biggest issue with everything is Parth's admission that, it was his bad. They didn't tell Acadian before this information got out. He talked to him about it over lunch. But everything else that's been said about the situation isn't true, except, or it's being overblown. But you know what? Yeah, my bad. This didn't happen.
Yeah, actually, I'm so glad, because I was about to bring that up since we were on this topic. I think that's the area where I would fault Parth the most, and I think it's kind of interesting because he kind of breezes over it and almost tends to try to like blame Azael without saying Azael's name for it. But like, I don't know, when you're submitting roster stuff and Riot takes fucking forever to do anything, and they have enough time to update their website and like make that information public, and you still haven't told your player, I feel like that's on you.
Azael even waited a day. He said like he got the information, was like holy shit, and then like waited a day and then tweeted it.
Oh god.
So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, that is rough. Like, that's the weird thing, interesting thing to me, because we were talking about this. There are so many coaches, and there's Parth. There's all these people attached on the support staff, and nobody had the time to like be like, by the way, Acadian. Okay, now it's just a crotch shot, Mark. We need to
give me a second, dude. Like, what do you think? I got fucking 4 cameras ready for all the different angles my cat's gonna show up.
Yeah, thank you. That's what drives the show. Either way, so I think that's the thing, and I think people drawing. I mean, it's bad that I'm the one saying this, because in a second Twitch chat's gonna be like, meh. But I think people drawing comparisons to the fact that like Peter found out through Reddit that he was not going to be on TSM. Acadian finds out through this tweet that he's not starting. It's like, look, there's a communication issue over there that needs to be resolved.
Well, that happened with Bjergsen too, right? It got tweeted out that TSM was requiring Bjergsen, and then Indy said, no, we're not. And then it came out that he was. Yeah. Same like you said with the Sven and Mythy leak for last year. But my only problem with the whole Acadian thing is, yeah, I get if there's personal things going on, but this is the same team that announced on Twitter that they were benching Brandini from Academy because of personal issues or behavioral issues.
Oh, yeah.
And there's no comments whatsoever about Acadian until this gets announced. So something doesn't add up. Like, it's okay for them to be clear and communicate with one, but not the other.
Well, so you brought up the 100 Thieves thing, and I just want to say a statement like Parth's would have gone a long way in the
Cody Sun situation.
Yeah. The Cody Sun situation. Like, I do think these are different, where at least like TSM is somewhat attempting to give clarification, even if we're all sitting here dissecting it line by line and what things.
Although worth noting, they only did it after like all this Dom stuff went haywire and all that shit. Like, and Acadian came out. Like it would have been nice if they'd done that before all of that.
Yeah, but I mean, if you can get away without a controversy, you try it. But then once it shows up, you're like, all right, we gotta address it. Whereas 100 Thieves was just like double down on silence.
Yeah.
So, the other thing that they glossed over very quickly, or Parth did, I should say, in this was just like, after week 6, he starts slumping in all aspects of his play. I believe the reason to be personal in nature and unrelated to the team based off my conversation with some people. He was in a slump. And then, like, they kind of just, like, didn't really get into what... Like, I understand you don't want to speculate about your player's personal life. I'm not saying Parth should have said more there. But, like, as a fan reading that, I'm like, okay, clearly something happened to this kid.
Yeah.
You know, and like you all live and work with the guy. Someone knows what happened to him. It's not like a mystery. And like a lot of people, you know, people talk and stuff. So like, who knows? Maybe it is the Sven thing that crushed. Who knows? You know, I don't fucking know. But like something happened here. And that's why I think it's so weird. Is because they're like, yeah, in week 5 we said he's the man, or week 4, whenever it was, and then week 6 and week 7 we had to start pulling the plug on him. So
I'm just entirely confused by the fact that, you know, he may have slumped, he may have played worse, he had a couple of bad games, whatever it is. But it's not like he was the only one.
Yeah.
What I'm confused by is that like he gives someone like, first of all, you have him compete for the spot with a jungler that hasn't played in half a year, right? Grig hasn't played in half a year. He may have played some scrims, but you have no idea about how he plays on stage. And the other guy brought you to the finals. Then you announce this guy as the main guy because you're just more confident in him. And then as soon as he's somewhat like struggling, doing badly, whatever it is, you exchange him for someone that is like completely unrelated to the team within that very moment. And it's like, I mean, something must have happened, and I can only speculate as much as any other guy. And I also don't want to like add fuel to the fire, because I do have like some professional courtesy to not like say something about other players, even if you know stuff. That's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I like something must have happened, and I don't think they handled it really well, because no matter what, a player should not be cut immediately after you tell him that he's the man. It doesn't work that way. And no matter what, I feel bad for the guy, and I know I cannot support such behavior, and I feel really bad on a professional level for him, because if I was in that spot, Jesus, I would have probably been like I would have been mad enough, probably like just let my opinion be known, whether it's on social media or something like that, because I'm that kind of person. I will for sure like done something about it. I'm just really confused by how it was handled overall, and how little anyone from them takes responsibility for it. And that's basically what I'm kind of thinking about. Hey, you just basically publicly kind of low-key ruined someone's career, right? You talked about that he has personal issues, and that's why he slumped, and then you basically kick him off a team for a rookie jungler. It's bad in the public light, and that's what I'm really concerned with.
Right. Well, I think that's a good point. Like, because they don't give us any real context into what went wrong, you know, they brought up a bunch of points about, you know, context before what happened and kind of after what happened, but not what actually happened. You know, we're left here speculating, like, what about him is so bad that it's worth taking a risk with a rookie jungler who you've never played with on your team before, right? Like, is he that much of a fucking trash can player that, like, you have to do this? You know, and
the Sven rumor would have almost made more sense than, like, what actually came out, right? If you're like, these two people fucking hated each other and we made a decision to send one person away, like that, almost you can understand that more than like the situation that it did end up popping up.
Yeah, just team chemistry didn't work out, and we wanted to give it another try in order to get the best out of the team, like in the long term. Like that would have been like a perfect announcement, gone with it, everyone understands, good, you know?
Yeah.
But he just don't do it. Like, so I don't understand, because it was actually like kind of framed in a way that Spica was already better for the short term. He clearly isn't, you know. So
yeah, that and then the other thing that was weird was like they thought they overperformed in spring, but they went on like an 8-1 run and then had to do all that. Like maybe they did overperform a little bit, but like wouldn't it be better to try to set yourself up to try and overperform again than to do this?
Yeah,
I don't know.
And like the fact that they didn't even have him as one of the 2 subs for playoffs, which Dom on the latest face check said he and Parth have talked about stuff, and Parth gave him some more context and basically told him that they brought Treats and Tactical or put them on as subs was because he felt bad with all the drama in the academy where they benched Brandini, had to move Grig, they stole their academy jungler up to LCS and made them play with all these other people, and he felt bad for them, so that's why they listed them as subs.
I mean, either way, you're still saying you're not.
Oh god, you know, like I mean, you know, the more even that if that's actually what he said, then like, does he not feel bad for Acadian? Like, oh yeah, I guess. I mean, he brought us to finance. Get it on. It's fine. We're good. You know, we don't need that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think, and that's like something I've noticed, like especially recently, and I think that's something that like may have come with the fact that like it used to be like players, coaches, same level kind of like, and then maybe sometimes like a bit of elevation, but now you have like coach, manager, then you have CTO, CEO, like investor, like, and then I mean, you know, but my point is that like, yes, it feels like that teams become less and less personal, and it really hurts the individual player. It's more business more than it's actually about the individual player, and I don't understand why that has been happening. It's not just TSM, it's actually a lot of teams where I've seen it, where people just get cut, right? Suddenly they get cut and you don't even hear anything about it, you don't know anything about it, and suddenly it's like, what happened? You know, like, and I think, for example, remember with the Echo Fox, where like Phoenix get cut, and like day before the trade.
Yeah.
So I feel like with sometimes forgetting, and like what sometimes being forgotten is that these players are human beings, right? They're actually whatever they must have done within that short moment to deserve to be kicked. It requires at least some kind of talk about it, like apologies, whatever it is about it, because you can't just treat players that disposable. It shines a really bad light on both obviously the teams, but also on the players themselves, because like if you tell someone, okay, this guy's hella replaceable, we don't give a shit, he's just gone, and that's it, that's the end of it. Like, what are you telling the other teams, right? You're telling them that this guy is bad, he has done something terrible, don't hire him. That's basically the signal you give to the outside, right? You're not honoring what you're supposed to honor. And I don't know, like, just treating players that disposable is really weird to me. I'm not used to it, and I've never seen this in my life, and I think recently, especially last 2 years, I think it has become a lot more than it.
Yeah, but like the 100 Thieves situation, I think everyone can kind of say, right, they're a new org. Yeah, everyone basically shit on them for the Cody Sun situation.
Thing is, for them, sorry to interrupt, but like for them, I kind of know obviously the background of it, so I can't really dive in too deep. But I know that they try to handle it as professional as possible, basically giving them the ability to, like, even they got so much flack for the media situation, and that's make no sense either, because I actually know the stuff that happened in the background where, it's just one of these try to keep it silent. At least that's from what I know, simply because they didn't want to like do anything bad for the reputation of that player with that moment.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's what Nate said when he came on. So
that's where they came from. So I think maybe for them it's a special case, especially because they're also new in League of Legends, what it is. But yeah, like it's just for me, like it actually hurts my soul to like talk about this too, like in terms of like players being disposable of this, because like I've been in certain situations too, that where I was treated as a disposable like player, like basically just a marketing tool, whatever it is. Like I've been in that situation, and being in that situation is always terrible.
All right, so I think we're finally done with the topic. Vice versa virtue. Do you wanna say anything as we say goodbye?
No, just shout outs to Alienware, Movement, and then OG sponsor Tidy Cats, right?
Yeah, so. Thank you so much. You can leave now. Thank you for calling in. Congrats on the TSM topic. You are a celebrity now. Catch you later. All right, we have to take a quick break really quickly. Speaking of Alienware, to talk about Alienware, let me throw their logo up on the screen right now. But they are one of our two sponsors for this show. They sponsor everything I do, and they had some crazy big announcements this past week. So they announced complete new computers, these beautiful machines. Alienware.com/Travis. Go check it out right now. This came out at Gamescom, and just a complete refresh on what they're doing. Actually, I need to change the link in the chat because I messed it up. But if you're listening to the YouTube, you can go and click the link down there. If you're listening to audio, just alienware.com/Travis. Go take a look at these new Auroras. They just refreshed them. They look awesome. I'm a huge fan of them. I just begged them for one. I should be getting one soon. Fantastic computers, and I think that they're really doing some innovative stuff in the industry from a design perspective. It now matches the design that they have on their Area 51M and their M15. But really cool. Also, they have the headsets that they announced at E3 are also available now on their store, so you can go check those out as well. But some really great stuff coming out from Alienware right now. Just like this year is, I know, a really big year for them as they refresh the look of so many of their products and obviously announce even more. So Thank you so much to Alienware for supporting the show. If you are listening and you want to order something, Travis 10 off. Use that code. Don't use the LCS code. All right, those jerks don't need your. Please. So Alienware.com/Travis. Travis 10 off. That's the code. Go ahead and use it, and save some money on some awesome new stuff. I have lost Mark. Mark, are you still there? Or are you just frozen?
Oh, I'm still here. Okay. You got a big F in the middle of that spiel.
The internet is choking out right now, unfortunately, but we will get it back. I'm going to refresh your.
You should unplug everyone's computer that's not yours. They're the problem.
Yeah, I think Kobe needs to pay the rent every month, and if I did that, he would maybe not be down. So, but I think we should be getting everything stabilized right now. If you missed it.
You mean turn my webcam on and off? What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know. I just dropped it in and it's not doing anything right. Strangely.
Cutting him.
Yeah.
Nice.
I see it on my screen. I don't know.
Interesting. Okay. Maybe it's a Skype issue. I might just recall you in a second if it doesn't work.
Wait, amazing. Do you see me?
Nope.
Oh wait, so this is on my end then, or
unless you have turned it to darkness itself, you know.
I turned all the lights off.
Yeah. I'll recall you both right now. Oh wait, no, there you go. Right now I see you on Skype, but for some reason we're still not getting your feed on XSplit. XSplit, why are you doing this? Interesting. Okay, Mark, I'm going to recall you. 1 second. I'm going to recall both of you.
All right.
Recalling. Amazing will hopefully start moving on screen.
Everyone will remember to mute on Skype.
I just muted.
Same.
Am I still not here?
Nope.
There we go.
Oh, there we are.
We fixed it. As my internet chokes out. I need to figure that out. It's just hard because, people are like, just fix it, but you can't really just, if your ISP sucks, you're just kind of stuck.
Just go to Alienware training facility to do the show out of it. It'll be great branding.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know if I need to be even more associated with Team Liquid than I already am. All right. Wait, Mark, are you still here?
Wait, my Skype just fucking gave up on life.
Okay, this is not on me.
Unhandled exception has occurred in your application. If you click continue, the application will ignore this error and attempt to continue. If you click quit, the application will close.
Quit and restart and join Skype and it'll let
I
you
click continue.
Okay. Great.
What? You definitely not continuing.
I'm back.
Can you mute?
Hello. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, we're good. Go grab the next caller.
Ah!
TSM is so unhappy with us that they're sabotaging everything that is attached to it.
Yeah. It's just how it works.
All right.
That's how they spend their free time. DDoSing.
Yeah. The guy who helps me with investments is in chat and he says Microsoft stock is so good though. So he's advocating. Do we have our next? Oh, Mark is grabbing them right now. A couple more shout outs to some subs. Thank you to Easy Moto for 16 months. Boba Cola gifted to Boater Michael. Pharmacist. Smoke Dog for 12 months. Quiet Pirate for 12 months. Brawler Yukon for 12 months. Holy moly. St. Louis Slayer for 16. Coco Sanchez for 17. And we have our next caller, Zasser 77. Is that how you say it? Zasser?
I don't think that's how you say anything. It's fine.
Wait, he fucking lied to me. I asked him what he called for, and he said he called for Troll Games. And then I scrolled up, and I totally pulled him for Clutch Gaming will win the Gauntlet in third place match.
Well, I can't hear him right now. Can you hear him?
I heard him fine in the waiting room. I don't know what happened to him.
Zasser? All right, maybe you have to send him back, and then you can. I see him lighting up, so he's trying to talk. But maybe you grab the next person. Zasser?
All right.
Okay, yeah. Zasser, maybe we figure out what's going on with your stuff, and then we bring you back. All right. Mark is grabbing the next person still. Sorry about suddenly everything is not working. Seems a lot like my life. Months Delicious, 3 months in a row. Mr. Mojo, 2 months. And Pokemans, who's not Pokemon, a whole year. Freak Peach for 9 months. Boba Cola gifted to Niski and On One Villain. And Vasilim gifted to Demonte and Medic Cass.
Well, this
nice
is a next
individuals.
level troll by Discord now, because I can hear him in the other room, but when I drag him in here, it doesn't work, and he was just counting. I told him to keep counting as I dragged him from the other room, and I stopped hearing it once I dragged him.
Should we all go to the other room and send the waiting room people down here?
There's two more people. So what if we do the other two people and then get to Disaster last, and we'll all go join him in the waiting room?
Let's do that.
Okay.
I thought that's what we were
Zaz.
doing. Anti-TP for 8. Dak Jamkin, Ezreal Auditore, Atari Legend, Purple is my rain, OP TSM fan gifted to Dangsor, and Kelsey Ramij. And Gully Pete is here. Gully Pete, where are you calling from?
Columbus, Ohio.
Columbus, Ohio. Okay, we can hear you. It's great. What do you want to talk about on the show tonight?
My hot take was that FlyQuest was going to win the gauntlet. I think they've had a lot of time to prep and analyze all the teams that are going to be in the gauntlet. So I think they will have a pretty good upper hand against them.
FlyQuest will be winning the gauntlet, so they are our third team to go to Worlds.
Yes.
Oh
Okay.
God, I hope not.
Okay, so could you elaborate on why this will work?
I think they have a lot of really good players. I know they finished very poorly throughout the regular split. I think they just had a lot of turbulence as far as that went. But I think with the amount of time they've had to kind of get their shit together, I think that they can put in a very good run against all the other teams, especially since they've had a lot of time to see what they all have.
What did they finish at the split? 8th?
Ninth, I think.
Ninth.
I think they lost to Echo Fox, who was 10th at their very last game.
You know, I'm still trying to understand why you think this. I know you just sort of explained, but like,
I like how he glazed over all of their problems as. Hold on, we can hear your keyboard.
Oh, sorry.
You glazed over all their problems as turbulence.
hello?
I would think all their players were actually on the roster for a while.
What do you mean?
Like, didn't they have some issues in the beginning of the split where some people were swapped in and out?
No, Wadid wasn't there yet. Yeah, but I think that was the only thing. And then they had like Revenge coming in for the academy team.
Yeah, so I think with their whole roster and having a lot of time to just sit down and practice with that roster, I think that they can actually put it, because a lot of these players are good players. You have Wadid, who was on G2, who was in semifinals of Worlds last year. You have Pro Belter, who was with TL for several of their title wins. You have Santorin, who was a very good jungler. You have Viper, who's a good top laner, and Wild Turtle, who is a very good ADC.
And my camera doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, I'm fixing it. Continue. So
I think you have all the pieces there. I think the issue is getting those pieces to fit, which is what I think they're working on right now before the gauntlet.
Right. So, I mean, like, Wadid was, I think, in America prior to actually playing for quite a period of time. I think he actually didn't even miss any time.
I interviewed him at, like, the asset day, like, before the start of the split.
Yeah, he was here the whole time, and he was scrimming with them the whole time. I think there was a slight visa issue in getting him onto stage right away. And then once they started scrimming with him, they kind of stuck with JJ for a little bit before they actually moved him up. But that said, I don't know, man. Like, I agree in premise that, like, they have a lot of talented players. They shouldn't be that bad. But can you mute your microphone, please, when you're getting some weird feedback?
Sorry, continue, Mark.
Yeah, anyway, so I was just saying, like, yes, they have talented players. Even then, they peaked at 4th in spring. Maybe they would have won the 3rd, 4th place match. And on top of that fact, they just don't work well as a team right now from what I can see. It's not like, oh, they just really tanked a little bit and slumped right at the end there. They were struggling all split long with finding any sort of identity resembling a winning formula. And to just cook one up in a month is pretty difficult, because it's not like you have to become a playoff team only. You know, you have to become the 3rd best team, beating some people like Clutch and CLG, who are working pretty well right now, which is a very tall order to improve that drastically from 9th to 3rd best.
So I think I think Clutch would be probably their hardest opponent as far as the gauntlet goes, but I think CLG and definitely TSM showed a lot of very clear weaknesses. And I think that if they practice right and can meld together well, I think they could definitely overcome both of those teams. I think, but like I said, the only team I see them actually like having a lot of issues with would be Clutch.
I'm actually in a different boat. I think they will for sure lose to CLG. There's no way they're going to beat CLG. I think there's actually more possibility for them to beat both TSM and Clutch. But I don't think that no matter what, they can make it, simply because the issues they split come from a meta change. I think between spring and summer, mid lane pool has been changed completely. I think Pobalt has not been able to play the champions that he wants to play. Like Ryze got nerfed. I mean, when he had Koki Nazir, that kind of meta coming in, I guess that saved him a bit. But if now, especially for players in the gauntlet, I think Aurelia, Akali, these kind of champions are going to be really, really dominant, and they're going to be really important to the mid lane pool, as well as Silas. And I don't think that they are a good team at playing aggressive around mid lane, which makes them a team that is going to lose to any team that is going to play well around mid lane. That's what I'm feeling. It's not like the bot lane is carrying either. Honestly, the only one that I see popping off once in a while is Viper, and he gets something like 2 to 3 wins. But overall playoff series, like Riven is banned, maybe another top lane is banned, I think it's gone. So what do you do at that point? I think they just don't have enough firepower to actually compete with teams like CG or CLG.
Yeah, it seems wild to think that this team is, after having such a terrible summer split, is going to come back at a time when we are seeing, like, TSM is going to be in the gauntlet, CLG or Clutch are going to pop in. Like, it's like both CLG and Clutch, I think people have been impressed with recently. So it's so hard to imagine a world where FlyQuest makes it through.
Yeah.
Mark, any thoughts?
I said my piece already. I said there's no way that they can improve that much. They can improve enough to become like a playoff team, but these are all, the best playoff teams remaining.
Yeah, I worry for your cable.
It's a cloth one, or like a not a plastic one.
Okay. Either way, so we generally, it sounds like we disagree with the idea that FlyQuest is going to make it through. And no offense to Gully Pete, but it doesn't seem like you have a great rebuttal.
A lot of it, I mean, we've seen miracles happen in the past, and I know that's kind of a shitty way to write it off as, but I do, like, we have seen all of these players be very, very good in the past, and it's basically a lot of me repeating myself. I do think that they can work out a lot of their issues and make a decent run.
Well, we'll see.
Who's your favorite player in the league?
That would be my boy Niski.
Oh, okay. I thought for sure he's going to be on 100, or on, FlyQuest.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm definitely a C9 fan.
Thanks so much, Gully Pete, for calling in. Anything you want to say as we say goodbye?
No, just thank you. Keep up with the good work, guys, and have a good night.
Yeah, have a good one.
You too.
All right, moving on to our next caller. We'll do one caller, market. Oh, he's gone. We'll grab one caller, and then we'll do our final break, and then we'll take our last caller, and that'll be the show. Running down towards the final bits here. Bowie Nico, thank you for the sub. Josh Riv, Wilkabees, Carouse 44, Conflict 801, Big for Air, Eyes Panda, Free Vanilla, and Nobody BP. Mr. Dongstrong is here. Mr. Dongstrong, where are you calling from?
From Seattle, Washington.
Seattle, Washington.
Yeah.
Excited to have you on the show.
Welcome
to the show. I'm going to be in Seattle next week.
Really? Nice.
For PAX.
Is that Floridians at PAX? Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, Alienware is doing something. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it yet, but
Thank you, Alienware.
Yes. Well, what would you like to talk about?
So I've been a Cloud9 fan for about 5 years, since 2014 spring. And I very vividly remember Amazing beating them in 2014 Summer Finals. Thank you, Amazing. So my topic was that if Reaper and C9 lose this final, that I think Reaper should face a fair amount of criticism for having a lot of talented rosters fail to take the title for the third year in a row. So if he loses this, then he'll be 0-4 in finals, since he's been the Cloud9 head coach. And just a little disclaimer: I'm not saying that Reaper should be shit on or be called a bad coach or anything like that, because he's a really, really good fucking coach. And I'm a really huge C9 fan. I'm really appreciative of what Reaper's done over the years, but I think just I think it does beg the question, like whether there is some sort of consistent factor to that. If he does go 0-4 in finals.
Yeah. It's so difficult to try to criticize him given how much he's accomplished on the international stage with that team.
Exactly.
And the fact that he has made it to like finals 4 times in the past 3 years. That is impressive, but as you say, he also loses a lot. So Mark, you're making a face.
Well, you got to make it to the big game to lose the big game, right? So he's got to be pretty good.
Yeah.
I got a question for Amazing since he played them. Jensen had mentioned when he swapped from C9 to Team Liquid, one of the reasons he was making the move was he always felt like his teams were worse, and he always felt like they were the underdog going in the finals. You played against them. Did you feel like you guys were the favorites at all when you guys played? Or did you only ever play against the high roster?
I only played against. I played against the C9. No, it was only in Worlds 2015. Like when I played, that was a high Jensen iteration, so I didn't get the better ones.
Well,
yeah. I mean, I can kind of take a question like somewhere else, and like it just I'm kind of confused by C9. I think they're great, but I think they never shoot for domestic success anyway. That's what is kind of weird about them. I think it's actually not their main motivation to win the split. I don't think they're the ones putting so much emphasis on it. Like TSM, for example, is really clear cut on that they want to win every split, right? I've never heard C9 actually make that statement. Like that they're like, oh, we really want to take the split. That's like our main motivation. Like, we want to win this. I feel like international success is so much more important to them. Just the general exposure. And so far, they've been better suited than any other NA team to actually compete on the international stage. Like, last split, I guess last split was an outlier. But I do think, generally speaking, like the teams that Reaper has put up have just been good internationally, and they're hard to beat. And I think that's what they're actually shooting for. So I actually wouldn't necessarily blame him for losing domestic finances, because I don't think he's actually personally aiming for that, nor is the organization aiming for that.
Niski in chat says time to play WoW Classic. So it does seem like they're not prioritizing finals.
But if they don't prioritize finals, then then why stop there? If you're good enough to make finals, then like why not just win it? You know what I mean? Like if you're good enough to make finals, you should be good enough to win finals. In my opinion,
it's one of those things where like I can understand if you're saying like we want to be the strongest team heading into Worlds, so you do some stuff in Summer Split, and you're not like shorting yourself for like only being good in Spring, and you're only playing the comps you currently know or something like that. But once you're in the finals, you should probably be, pretty focused on winning them.
Mm-hmm.
That said, like, I don't know if I ever feel like when I watch those series, I'm like, man, he super got out coached.
Mm-hmm.
I don't always feel that way. There's been enough close ones. Like I think they've gone to game 5 like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
But like I can't remember like he really fucked that series up.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's happened and it's just slipped my mind though.
The only thing that I would think back to is when I think it was like when Jensen talked about like why he left C9 or whatever. He brought up a lot about how like in the 2018 summer finals he felt like they should like he was kind of frustrated, and that he felt like they should have just stuck to what was working because he felt like they tried to throw like a few curveballs like Teal's way or whatever, and that he just felt like they weren't really exactly sticking to what was working for them. And that's part of the reason why he felt like he wanted to move on to a different team so he can get a trophy like he wanted.
No,
you go amazing.
No, I can see that. I think, last year they were definitely the underdogs. There was little to no way that they're gonna beat TL. Like TL was just a different monster. I do feel like that C9 sometimes has an over focus and over emphasis on certain weird champion combinations that only work in certain situations in order to throw people off. For example, the Yasuo Graga spam that they had throughout the year, for example, then having like Blabber play a couple games, that like it's like utilizing his champion pool with the Kindred or like Driven. It's just sometimes they're weirdly focused on certain picks, and I think that's why they're struggling against top teams so far, or at least like against the best teams, because the best teams will have routines that will always cover more ground than like weird champion picks, right? What I mean by that is like there's certain systems in place where you have comeback options, like fallback options. For example, like pushing out another wave, like in order to greet for another wave in order to stall the enemy tempo. That's, for example, one thing. Like, and TL is like really good at answering a lot of the things that, like, for example, weird champion picks could kind of like enable, where their fundamentals are really good. They're able to have a lot of fallback options. They're always going to get the farm that they want. So C9, by comparison, just against them at least, because they feel like that in most cases they're the worst individual players, I think they try to rely too much on weird champion picks. I do, however, think that this year it's a different beast. I understand. I mean, last year was definitely that way, where they were just a lot worse than TL.
Even though Cloud9 was like coming in super hot into the playoffs, they were like 9-1 in the back half or something like that. And a lot of people predicted Cloud9 to win that final, even though they weren't. But like, you think that TL was just miles better either way?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
It's similar to the story, I guess, that, like, for example, last year I played in the finals against Fnatic, and I knew that, like, unless we have better routines than them, we're not going to beat them. We had to rely on like 1 or 2 good champion picks to make that happen, and it just didn't happen. I think it's the same story for C9 against TL, at least last year. But this year, like, the individual prowesses of C9 should actually be almost on par with TL's. And I think, yeah, Jensen and Iski, depending on who the mid laner is, right? Like, obviously, if Jensen was on a team on C9 still and Niski was on TL, I think it would be the same story. Like, both mid laners are kind of equal right now, and none of them is like really an underdog against one another.
Yeah, I think I have a hard time wanting to criticize Reaper that much. I mean, like, I don't mind criticizing him in like in the moment of like, oh, yeah, that was probably the wrong draft, or that wasn't right. But I don't know if I levy too much criticism at his entire career, because the thing about coaching is it doesn't necessarily end with just like pick ban or results. It's also like how well he's positioned the organization over his tenure. And I don't want to say all the academy stuff is his success, because, you know, West Rice and stuff do a lot of things, and there's other people involved, and there's managers and stuff. But as a whole, that might be one of the best run organizations, it seems, based off the fact that they've been able to deal with player turnover and keep losing players and stay consistently, you know, making these finals appearances. Yeah. I think a large part of that does come down to Reaper. And so, like, you know, you can say, he should be winning more, and you might be right, but like, he also has a lot of other strengths beyond just the finals performances.
No, I agree. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I said at the beginning. Like, I don't think like he's like by any means that he should be like called a shitty coach or whatever, because he is definitely, or in the West even. But
do you think his reputation exceeds his like performance? Is that what you're getting at, or?
I'd say so. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, his playoff best of 5 record, if my memory serves me right, it's 5-6. Best of 5 record in playoffs, like not including this upcoming final, which would be like 0-3 in finals. So like, I'm not trying to be like results-based analysis.
No, I understand. Like, I understand what you mean, though. Like, I can kind of see that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like being like 5-6 and, you know, playoff best of 5 record. It's like he's had like this would be his 7th split coaching C9 or being in NA. So I mean, like, you know, 0-7. I'm not saying it's like, you know, again, I'm not saying he's like shitty or anything like that, but just like it kind of begs the question. So
I think he's one of the best coaches.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I do think that he's not as good as people make him out to be. That's what I think. I think he's still limited, and there's still some things that obviously, like, you can criticize about him. It's not too much, but I do think he's not like that kind of like big brain gothic coach that everyone thinks like, oh, like he's the public thinks he is. I think he's a really good coach, however.
Yeah.
I if you want some gossip, I know 2 or 3 coaches have told me that they don't like, they like drafting against him because they feel like they know what's going to happen for the most part, and they're not worried. So like they don't think he's like that drafting god or anything like that.
I remember an interview or something like that with Reaper, who he said like usually with this drafting process, or and again this is, you know, based on my memory, and like, but this is something that I recall him saying, was that he goes through a lot of his draft prep like in the shower in the morning, like when he, like as he's showering in the morning, like in his head for like 10 to 15 minutes, and that's like his draft prep. So you take that with, you know,
I mean,
whatever amount
also,
of grain of salt that you want, but like, you know,
I mean, also I did an interview with Zazel this weekend where they said they had 20 pages of documentation for
I also saw that too. Yeah.
So
conflicting.
I don't think it's like they show up with like with Reaper being like, so I got some shampoo in my eyes, so I'm not sure how to deal with support, but we've got everything else.
Ban all soap-based champions.
Yeah.
No more Nami right there.
Yeah.
No bubbles.
Great. All right. Anyway, hey, thanks so much for calling in. I do think it's an interesting topic, Mr. Dongstrong. Thanks for the call.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Anything you want to say as we say goodbye?
Thank you, Alienware. Thank you, Travis and Mark, and Amazing. Thank you guys so much.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you too.
We're going to take a quick break just to talk about Movement, who joined us as a sponsor last week for the first time. They make some great stuff. I'm wearing glasses that they make right now specifically for using the computer. You can check that out. They also have great watches. I've been wearing this one a ton. I have this one over here, which I need to get fitted, but it's also pretty slick. I like it a lot, and a little bit on the fancier side. And also the sunglasses that you see me wearing my LCS interviews on the weekend are from them. In fact, right now, if you're watching on YouTube, you can just scroll down and click the link below. There's a link there, and it saves you some money if you want to go check out some of their cool stuff. They make other things as well, by the way, but those are the things that I've been using.
Travis, are they down for trolling in plugs or no?
I don't know them well enough yet to do that, but
so I can't say stuff about my cat. This cute little collar.
Well, they don't make the collar. If that you were gonna make the joke
well, I mean, but I usually just lie about stuff for Alienware.
Yeah, I don't know these guys well enough yet, so to have you lie. Either way.
All right. Okay, cut that part.
And for the next 2 hours, if you're watching live, by the way, for the next 2 hours and 16 minutes before the day ends here in LA, which is, by the way, where they're based out of. It's kind of cool to be working with a company that's based out of LA. They have 26% off site-wide, 26% off everything. It's crazy. So if you're watching right now, go check out the link below. mvmt.cc/Travis Gafford. There's a box underneath the stream that you can hit. If you're watching on YouTube, you can do that. Check out some of their stuff. They make great stuff, and I really appreciate their support of the show. And Mark will have stuff as soon as he decides to link it to me. I told him, I told Mark, just send me what you want, and they'll send it to you. So,
I forgot. I'm kind of busy. Just pick things you think I would like, or that would look good on me.
No,
you have a better sense of fashion than I do, dude. Now's your chance to show it off.
I don't know how to dress you.
Well, I guess you're not as good as you thought you were.
It's a hard one, actually. I agree.
Yes, yeah.
Come on, what are you guys saying here?
Just go find stuff. All right, whatever. Either way, thank you so much, Movement, for sponsoring, and please everyone go check out their link that I have, because it helps me, and that's what we're all here for. All right, let's move on to our final caller of the evening.
We gotta go for the mass commute.
Oh yeah, we're going over.
Yeah, I'll drag you.
Right.
Travis, you're coming?
Yeah. Hello, Zacer. Can we hear you?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can.
We can hear you in this channel. Discord's insane. Where are you calling from?
East Lansing, Michigan.
East Lansing, Michigan. I'm going to turn you up a bit. You're a little quiet. Well, great. Are you going to be going to Detroit Finals?
Yes.
All right, fantastic. Hope to see you there. What would you like to talk about on the show tonight?
I think that in the EUL or LEC, it's not necessarily bad that teams are kind of trolling in the last couple weeks with picks.
I told you. Didn't you hear me in the other channel where I was saying this isn't what I pulled you for?
Why don't you talk about the clutch?
Yeah, that's what I pulled you for, not this trolling topic. No one cares about Europe here.
Okay, so I think Clutch Gaming will win the gauntlet.
Okay, so we had a FlyQuest fan a little bit ago. I think Clutch is perhaps less of a hot take. Why do you think that Clutch will win the gauntlet?
I think the gauntlet boss right now is TSM, if I'm not mistaken, and I think that Clutch can easily beat them because TSM seems to be sorts recently. I don't think FlyQuest has much of any chance considering they finished 9th, and I think that Clutch Gaming is favored over CLG considering Clutch Gaming is kind of coming in on a hot streak, and Huni seems to be performing, seems to be like meshing together very well, and the meta seems to be pretty favored to them.
All right. I'm just gonna throw. I mean, we're wrapping up the show. We'll go through this quick. Amazing. Is Clutch the best candidate to make it through Gauntlet?
How to say? Actually, I think it's so hard to give them like that much respect because I actually don't know how good TSM was when they played him. I think TSM was pretty bad. I think TL had like 2 off games where they played really bad and then gave them a lot of leeway that way. I think they're probably the second strongest team in Gauntlet. I think I would still favor CLG over them. I think CLG just has better routines overall. Their way of playing is a lot more replicable in the best of 5. I think that their prep against most teams has been good so far. And I think they're actually individually not really outmatched by CG either. So they're not going to fall in the same trap that they did against C9, where they're just individually outmatched and lose that way. I think it's CG they have a decent matchup, and I think CLG is just, their prep overall is just really good because every time I see them play, they have new routines coming in that have been optimized, and I think in the best of 5, that's probably going to be more likely to take care of business than having to win early fights in order to win the game.
It's weird because most of the time we see Clutch win, it's because they got Rumble or Kiana or something. And that was true in both their wins against Team Liquid. And it feels like I'm not sure what they do to win when they don't get those. They play this a similar way. Cody has like his hyper carries like Xayah or Sivir he wants to play for the most part. And then the mid lane and top still have like some unique picks, but they don't quite seem as effective. So I'm kind of with Amazing. The question is like, what is CLG's actual level? Because in the first 2 games, they kind of just got completely rolled over, and they should have got rolled over game 3, but they managed to come back. And then in game 4, they actually looked pretty good before they kind of threw it and got flanked by C9 a couple times. So like, that's the question. It's like, is it more game 4 for CLG, or is it game 1, 2, and 3's early game? Because if it's game 1, 2, and 3, I actually think they're in a lot of trouble against Clutch Gaming. But if it's game 4, and I lean towards believing that they're more like game 4 and they just had a bad start to that playoff series, then I don't know. CLG?
I mean, I think it's going to end up being them in the finals of the Gauntlet. And I think you're probably looking at a 5-game series. I mean, it is kind of a toss-up.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is neither of these teams feel as like consistent or safe. You know, like it could be a 3-0 because one of the teams just has like a terrible day, or like the pressure gets to them or something. But it's like super fascinating to know what's going to end up happening in a couple of weeks now. I mean, the funny thing is we have a week off for Labor Day, so this is still 3 weeks out. We'll see how things go.
Yeah, I'm gonna. You know what? I'm changing my mind. I'm going with Clutch because
Really?
Demonte watches this show, whereas, you know, Biofrost and PoE are nice, and they, you know,
is
talk to
Demonte
us
in the
and
chat
stuff,
right now?
but, I don't know. Is he not? Because if he's not anymore, I'm not.
Yeah, I don't see him talking. He doesn't seem to be reacting to any
Well,
of this.
then you should check your prediction again because he's not watching anymore.
Okay, Demonte
Yeah.
and Clutch are in the chat, but I don't know if they're just AFK.
Clutch is here. All right, yeah, let's go Clutch Gaming. 3-2.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there's no CLG account. And actually, CLG account sometimes is in here, but they're not in here tonight, so that's why.
That's what I was saying. Is that CLG's cool with us, and they do a lot of nice stuff with us, but they're not quite like true homies like Demonte and Niski are.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Whatever. Anyway, so verdict is Clutch is going to win because we're biased towards them because they hang out in our chat.
Yep.
And they've got the Dignitas wind beneath their wings right now. Zacer, thank you so much for calling in. Anything you want to say as we say goodbye?
Nope. Thanks for hosting, and have a good night.
Yeah, have a
You
good
too.
one.
See ya.
All right. I am going to go get some food because I am starving. Let's go through and say our goodbyes, though. Mark, do you have any shout-outs, anything you want to say? What's going on with you?
Going to the DMV tomorrow. You want to ask about why, Travis? So I can explain all the paperwork I need. Look, I got some of it here.
Yes, please explain. I want to know.
All right, so this is a title. I need to have a title. I need to fill in the information from my dad's transfer of it to me. What's interesting is you're supposed to sell it to someone else, and then you get taxed on the amount of sell
so you
value.
can sell it for way less.
Right. So my dad gave it to me. Right. So like, can I write 0? That's the question. Does anyone in Twitch chat know?
You should.
Can I write 0?
Hit up Esports Law on Twitter. Just tweet
Right.
at them.
Yeah.
So I gotta do all that.
Actually, just tweet at all the esports lawyers. Like, just find all the esports lawyers on Twitter and just create a massive tweet that just asks about this and see what you get in response.
Well, all of Twitch chat's saying yes, but I also don't trust Twitch chat for shit.
No.
So I don't...
like probably none of these people have ever done anything like this.
Yeah, I don't think you should consult Twitch chat in that kind of scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's kind of dangerous.
Yeah, it's like, well, you actually got sued. Anyway, so yeah, I just have to do that. Got my registration, got my smog check today.
Guys, we really need to hit the sub goal because you guys got Mark sued or audited or whatever, screwed by the government. So we need to make it back that money for him. Actually,
you get audited, actually?
I don't know what it would. I don't know what that would. You'd get fined or something. I don't know what it would look like.
Yeah, I'm sure they want to do as little work as possible for as much money as possible. So they'll just fine you, and they'll be like, "All right, contest this if you think we're wrong."
Oh yeah.
Amazing. What do you got going on?
I'm gonna go on a hike tomorrow. No, I'm not streaming right now. But I guess you can catch my thoughts on my Twitter because I'm really active there and I shit post a lot, so that's entertaining.
Yeah.
Other than that, no, I'm actually gonna fly out to Detroit, so come meet me there if you can, and if you want to, we actually have a fan meet on Sunday too, so that's gonna be interesting. And then afterwards, I'm free to go back to Europe.
Are you gonna go back to Europe?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Amsterdam and then home and then Ibiza, which is gonna be pretty good.
That sounds so nice. I have to go to fucking Worlds. It's a pain in the ass.
I mean, I'm gonna go there too, but that's far in the future. I'm not thinking about that yet.
Yeah.
No leak in my brain for now.
Mark?
I'll vouch Amazing's Twitter is a good follow. I don't know why, but I wasn't following him until I had to follow him to DM him to come on this, try and get him on this show.
I just followed him too. I feel bad about that. I guess I didn't think to follow him whenever he came over here. I refuse to follow LEC players because they're just the worst. But LCS
so
players
you don't follow Perks?
I might follow Perks. I don't think I follow Perks.
I don't think I do either. Anyways, yeah, it's been a good follow, so I can say it's not like one of these shitty ones.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, and we can all agree. Follow Amazing on Twitter. For me, I'm just continuing to exist as a mortal on this planet, and hopefully one day I find happiness. That's the show, everyone. Actually, I think
that's something depressing.
I think this. Thanks so much, Movement and Alienware, for sponsoring the show. Mark's camera froze again. And that's the show. Thanks, everyone. This has been Hotline League episode 80-something.
87.
Yes.